gets the layup. Oh, Steph!
Lakers really late coming back, and Nate Robinson.
Back to James. Cavaliers lead and a foul.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. Today we are going to be covering the first half of the 2018 NBA Draft, picks 1 through 15. I'm Harrison Grimm. With me,
I'm KJ Edelman. We got lottery plus one today, kind of seeing what teams need going into another season after the finals are about to end. So just kind of jumping right into it, we have the 15th pick off the bat. Washington Wizards, probably one of the bigger disappointment teams, even though they still did make the playoffs.
Barely.
Like literally barely, because going into the season, I kind of saw them as a top 3 team. I think they were in the conference finals not last year, but a year before that. And, you have so much high expectations for 2 players in their prime, Beal and Wall, and Otto Porter even, nearing his prime too. With his improved three-point shooter, and they're still kind of flaking in that mediocre bottom half of the East.
I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they aren't a deep team at all. They really have no bench outside of Kelly Oubre.
Sadaransky's kind of sick, though. Sadaransky is so sick.
But still, that's 2 guys on
Yeah, all right, fine.
Injuries were also a big part. Yeah.
And, they like to play small ball, too. So, what I did for the 15th pick, and, I don't have many sure picks in my life. I'm not sure of many things, like death taxes and the 15th pick in the NBA draft. But I went with Texas A&M's Robert Williams. I think the Wizards are kind of getting sick of Marcin Gortat. Can't say his name either. I think they're getting sick of him to the point whereas, 2 years ago, I went to a Portland Trail Blazers game, and I just remember him going off, 18 and 12.
It's the Polish Hammer.
But, last season, 8.7 rebounds. He's a model of consistency, but, that's not what – he's old NBA, and I think – if you're going to have a 5, you're going to want that smaller 5 who can do a lot of things.
Defend multiple positions is a big thing in today's NBA.
And I'm picking Robert Williams because I think that's the new, that's who's going to bring the Wizards the small ball they want if they want to put Markieff Morris at the 4 too. Kind of looking towards Robert Williams, he is he's great defensively to the point whereas he can match Gortat in his defensive ability. And he has offensive upside to the point where he can block and he can switch. Mm-hmm. I think the only thing really lacking with him, if you're gonna take him with the 15th, is his shooting isn't great. He's not gonna give you center shooting. He's not gonna give you too much around the rim.
He's not a stretch 5.
Yeah, he's not a stretch 5.
Yeah,
but I think when you have your 1, 2, and your 3 probably top 40 players in the NBA and you're 1 and 2 top 15 players in the NBA in scoring, you don't need that. And that's why Gortat has kind of lost some ground this year and why they should move on with him. I think when you're the Wizards and you're at 15, they're looking for that Clint Capella. They're looking for that 24th pick who doesn't look like he's going to do a lot, but in 6 years, that's who you want.
Or mainly, he doesn't need to touch the ball a lot because most of your points in production is going to be coming from Bradley Beal and John Wall, really. So, just someone to play within a role, I think, is definitely what they need.
Who'd you pick?
So, going back to what you said about Gortat, he might not even be on the team next season because he came out with that interview saying he wanted to go back to the Magic. Oh, yeah. Remember that? Yeah. So
didn't, John Wall trash him, publicly?
Yeah, they had this Twitter beef where they were talking about team ball and are the Wizards better without John Wall, which they aren't. That's stupid. But anyway, going into my 15 pick, I actually had Robert Williams too. I like him a lot as a player. Yeah. He's a bit undersized for a center, which isn't that big of a deal. He's 6'9". He did average basically 2.5 blocks in college. The thing that makes him really great, like you touched on earlier, is his speed. He has a massive wingspan, 7'4" for his size, that's impressive. But like you said, he's not a shooter at all. Really not. He shot 47% from the free throw line in college. Didn't make any threes, really. But I think Robert Williams would be a quality pick for the Wizards. I think it's exactly what they would be looking for. He could play alongside Markieff Morris, who's on one of the best contracts in the NBA. But yeah, I think that would be a quality pick for the Wizards, and they would be very fortunate if he does fall to them at 15.
I think the thing too is he's going to be a role player for a couple of years, and they're okay with that. When I saw this pick, and when I was like, all right, Rob Williams 15, it's the Clint Capella model. I'm not saying he's going to be Clint Capella. Clint Capella is a freakish athlete, but it's the Clint Capella model. You're a role player, and you build your way to start. You start, you produce, and then you become what he is, and you get that contract.
I mean, if they wanted to play big, they could play him at the 4 because, I mean, as a backup, they have Jan Mahimi.
He's old NBA too.
Yeah.
I love Jan Mahimi.
Yeah.
He was a savage on the Pacers.
He's on a horrible deal too, but no, that would be.
I think Washington, if they can get Rob Williams at 15, I think that's a good path for them to kind of stay more in contention. And 3 years down the line, that's really going to help them out.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. So I guess we'll move into the next pick then, 14.
Yeah, go ahead.
So 14 is Denver's. Denver's was a really tricky pick for me. I know it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
You were bragging about how sure you were about this pick.
I'm not sure. Okay. I don't have faith in Denver that much. I'll go into that.
It's just tricky because there's reports saying that they're gonna trade it, which if I'm the GM of Denver, I would not trade that pick. You did that last year with Donovan Mitchell. Look how he turned out. But I mean, they're trying to shed salary. Jeez. So like Kenneth Faried, who they've been trying to trade forever, it seems like. But if they do keep the pick, I have them taking Lonnie Walker.
My boy.
Yeah. Local product. Lonnie, he's a good player. I don't think he's gonna be a star. That's just me. And I know
that hurts my heart.
Yeah, I know that's tough on you. But I think what Denver needs is perimeter defenders. They have Gary Harris, who's an excellent perimeter defender. Excellent player. They have Jamal Murray, who's average, and then really you have no one else who's a great wing defender on that team, in my opinion. Will Barton might not be there. He might be moving, probably. They're probably not going to pay him. So I think Lonnie Walker definitely fills in a role that they need, especially if you have him come off the bench. Denver's bench production it's average, I believe.
Wilson Chandler's kind of sick. It's average, yeah. I've looked at the numbers. I think they're like 14th or something in that range.
They're middle of the road.
Yeah.
For sure.
So I looked at my Denver pick, and I based it solely off of Will Barton. I'm Portland.
Will Barton leaving?
I'm a I'm a Portland Trailblazers fan, so I am the biggest Will Barton fan out there. The people's champ. So I don't think Will Barton's coming back. He's a lot of money. You just paid Millsap the last year. Mm-hmm. So I kind of went with a tweener. I went with Kevin Knox at 14.
Okay.
I think you have Millsap, you have Jokic, and you have Murray. And those are your building blocks. 4, 5, 1. You're 2 and 3. Gary Harris is a good 2 or 3, so you're looking in that range. Yeah. But I think they're not 100% sold on Millsap to the point where you can put Knox in at that 3, but he can play that 4 too.
Small ball 4.
He can shoot. He can beat up the smaller matchups at the 3. He gets to the rim. He even has a nice step back. I remember watching a couple highlights of him just murdering people with a step back, and I was a little interested about that. But his shooting is very spotty. He's not a guy who's going to shoot amazing for you, but he's the kind of person who can do a lot of good things. Just he needs to find his specialty. I really couldn't find a great comparison for him, but I think if you put him in a couple years, if you keep those 4, I think I would like to think Denver's very sold on Murray, Jokic, and Harris for the long haul. Millsap has the contract as well.
I think that's definitely your young core.
Yeah. But I think if he's that guy you can plug in, if you're looking for that starting lineup, and obviously he's going to be a role player. He's a 14th pick. He's not going to come in and start right away. We think. I mean, Donovan Mitchell was also 14th pick, so we're not gonna get there. But
he was 3rd.
I think if he doesn't pan out to be that starter, he's a great 6th man too. He's a great bench player for a couple years to come.
I mean, he reminds me, you were trying to find a comparison. He reminds me a little bit of Denzel Valentine coming into the draft, because Denzel was a player who was just kind of good at everything.
Yeah, I would say a bigger version. I'd say a bigger version of Denzel.
Well, yeah. But in terms of skill set, it's kind of similar to him.
I think that's a fair assessment.
Yeah, and also Wilson Chandler has a player option. which he'll probably pick up. I mean, he's not.
They
gonna
would
get-
play very similar roles too.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Kevin Knox has less tattoos.
Yeah. I
than
mean,
Wilson Chandler.
I just if they do if they do keep the pick, I just don't see him picking a front court player.
Yeah.
Because you got Mason Plumlee, you got Kenneth Faried right now,
Mason Plumlee, too.
Trey Lyles, who you gave up Donovan Mitchell for, which was totally worth it. Not at all, but yeah, I definitely could see him taking either one of those players. So I think that's a fair pick.
All right, so moving to the 13th pick.